Assalamu alaikum my dear brothers and sisters. Once again welcome you all to my YouTube channel Let's Join Pharmacy. Yes, today I am here in front of you to discuss about how to write the pathogenesis in pathophysiology. Means in pathophysiology subject, how to describe the pathogenesis of any disease of any disorder. Got it? By observing this video my dear brothers and sisters, your doubts will be clear. Because pathogenesis, writing pathogenesis, it's a very important in the pathophysiology subject. Okay, and some students they think that pathogenesis or pathophysiology of the diseases is difficult to write. No, it's the wrong concept of yours, my dear brothers and my dear sisters. Writing pathogenesis of any subject, of any diabetes, of any disease or any disorder, it's very easy, very easy. Just you have to remember 2 to 3 points, means you can easily write the pathogenesis. The main concept in pathophysiology is pathogenesis. By the way, you can easily write the causes, symptoms, and you can write you can also write the types of the disease, and you will describe what is that disease, by which bacteria it will arises, if it is infectious disease, or if it is viral disease, means by which virus it will be enters into the human body. You can easily define that. Symptoms also you can easily write, types also you can easily write, treatment, diagnosis, all you can easily write, and you can easily write this pathogenesis also. Okay, passing this subject is very easy. You can easily get 40 to 45 marks. And in today's lecture I will discuss only 5 pathogenesis of 5 diseases or disorders. And inshallah in next coming classes I will discuss about remaining 5 to 6 pathogenesis of the remaining diseases and disorders. If you perfect in this, means you can easily score 20 marks in your examination. Only about this pathogenesis, only writing the pathogenesis, you can score how many marks? Very good, 20 marks. Remaining you can score 2 marks, questions 5, 10 marks, 30 marks you got pass. Okay, if you write causes, then you write symptoms, then you write some of the definition types, you can easily get 40 to 45 marks. Okay, the good writer will get the 50 to 55 marks in pathophysiology paper. Very easy concept. Yes, let's study the first pathogenesis, that is of a diabetes mellitus. Don't confuse my dear brothers and sisters, pathogenesis and pathophysiology, they are quite similar. If the question paper asks you to write the pathogenesis of the diabetes mellitus, you describe the same. If the question paper has asked for pathophysiology of the diabetes mellitus, you write the same. If they told you etiopathophysiciology, you write the same. Pathogenesis, pathophysiology, etiopathogenesis or etiopathophysiciology, all describe the same thing. So let's study pathogenesis of diabetes mellitus. See my dear brothers and sisters, as you are very familiar with diabetes mellitus can be type 1, type 2, different types are there. Okay, now see here, type 1, type 2 is initially very important, and these are preferred first. Now the causes for this diabetes mellitus is genetic factor, then insulin decrease or resistance in insulin, insufficient insulin production. These are first you have to write. After that, why this leads to the less beta cell production? Absolutely, due to the deficient in insulin, means the beta cell will be decreased. That leads to increase in gluconeogenesis. Increase in gluconeogenesis means the formation of the glycogen increases there. Okay, the breakdown of glycogen into glucose decreases, but formation means the buildup of the glycogen increases. Why? Means because of insufficient beta cell production from the islets of Langerhans. Due to this increase in gluconeogenesis, there will be increase in the breakdown of the glycogen into glucose. So that only means breakdown of a glycogen. Glycogen get converted into the glucose continuously. Due to that glucose level, that leads to hyperglycemia. Okay, here one concept I wrote, liver fails to stop glucogenesis. Liver fails to stop glucogenesis. Means it will fail to stop that continuous proliferation of this gluconeogenesis, continuous development of the glycogen. Liver will stop that. Okay, due to the continuous generation of the glycogen, that glycogen converted into glucose, excessive deposition of glucose in the liver, adipose tissue, then in the bone, that leads to the hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia leads to poor protein synthesis. That leads to complications like blindness, kidney and bladder failure, less healing property. Okay, and further in complication that leads to the gangrene. Okay, leg gangrene, different types of gangrene. Gangrene means the part which was affected, or the part in which the blood is not supplied, that is gangrene. Okay, the blood is not supplied to that part. If blood is not supplied means, if oxygen is not supplied means the cell will be died there, no use of that part. That's the gangrene. You have to cut that part and you have to remove that. The gangrene, that's the main, gangrene is the main complication in the diabetes mellitus. This is the simple pathogenesis, my dear brothers and sisters. By writing this pathogenesis a chart, you describe the chart in your examination. By writing this, after what you have to do, you just explain this simple explanation. Diabetes mellitus that comes from or causes is insulin resistance. It leads to less secretion of beta cells, then increase in gluconeogenesis, increase in breakdown of glycogen into glucose, hyperglycemia, poor protein, complication like blindness, kidney and bladder stones failure, then healing property decreases. You have to explain this all. You can easily bring the pages up to 1.5 and 1 page here, no problem. Yes, and next one more type of pathogenesis, that is of asthma. Pathophysiology of asthma. Due to the causes of allergens or entry of the allergens, pollen, dust and drugs, what happens? They stimulate the production of IG, immune system. Then it binds to the mast cell. Mast cell release some of the inflammatory medications, mediators like histamine, leukotrienes, serotonin, prostaglandins, cytokinins. These are the inflammatory mediators which are released from the mast cell. These will migrate to the WBC and engulf the allergens. Okay, these all go and engulf, means they deposit it over the allergens. Then after this, what happens? They will release the proton. Further inflammation that leads to the increase in the production of a thick titanious mucus, contraction of the bronchial muscles. Due to that, it leads to the airway obstruction, means the airway got narrow and there will be the problem of breathing. Okay, problem of breathing, that leads to asthma. Then untreated leads to irreversible alveolar damage, that leads to lung cancer. Got it? You have to write in this manner. The next one is a pathogenesis of the Parkinsonism, means Parkinson disease pathogenesis. No specific standard criteria exists for the neuropathologic diagnosis of the Parkinson disease. There is no specific pathogenesis or specific cause. Okay, the cause and the pathogenesis are idiopathic here. Okay, there is no specific for this Parkinsonism. There are different types of causes, but scientists will say that due to the drug addiction and the degeneration of the neurons, means the damaging of the neurons, imbalance with the neuron activity leads to this loss of dopamine neurons. As you all know that dopamine plays a vital role in the transmission in the brain cells. They will transmit the nerve impulses. Okay, nerve impulses play a vital role. Dopamine, what happens if there is a loss of dopamine neurons, means decrease in motor signals. Okay, what I am shaking the hands here. Okay, so this reason what I am shaking the hands and what I am talking, no, these all depend on the motor signals. Motor signals directly or indirectly depends on the dopamine neurons. The loss of dopamine neurons, decrease in motor signal. That decrease in motor signal means body movement gets slow body movement. Okay, slow body movement. Rigidity will appears in your hands, legs, rigidness. Okay, tenderness. These all are due to the slow body movement. Then production of the Lewy bodies. Lewy bodies, it's a type of the protein which you find in the brain. Okay, due to this Parkinson, what happens? There will be production of Lewy body proteins. They will form the clumps over the brain cell. Clump means they will form the clot over the brain cell. Due to that clot, what happens? The mature cells or the important cells or the healthy cells, they cannot transfer the impulses because of these clumps. Okay, and they damage the healthy cells also. Which one? That unhealthy, that Lewy body protein cells or affected dopamine neuron, they will destroy other neurons also. Okay, that is to the Parkinson disease. This is the pathogenesis. Yes, this is the third one. Now let's move towards the fourth one, pathogenesis of the tuberculosis. See here, tuberculosis is mainly by means of a droplet nuclei of a tuberculosis. Means if the patient, he or she is suffering from TB, tuberculosis, he or she is a nuclei, the droplet nuclei is consist of the mycobacterium tuberculosis, some bacteria, infectious disease it is. Okay, due to that what happens, further deposition over the alveoli that enters into the human body by means of the mouth or nostrils, it deposited into the alveoli of the lungs. Then after that it activates the alveolar macrophages. Okay, every organ having its own army. Here the immunity which protects the lungs is the alveolar macrophages. Due to the activation of alveolar macrophages, what happens, that TB means tuberculosis bacillus survive and multiply with the macrophages. Means what happens, they will fight, which one, these macrophages will fight with that entered TB bacilli. But at certain stage what happens, this TB bacilli will survive, means remaining will be survive and multiplies with the macrophages. Further proliferation means further development of this TB, they will activate the cellular immune system. Cellular immune system, that is the T helper cells. These T helper cells will prevent the further development of further multiplication of the TB tuberculosis bacilli by formation of the granuloma, where granuloma over that cells. This granuloma is nothing but the deposition of the T cells. Due to that deposition of the T cells over that granuloma, what happens, they will defend against the TB. Okay, TB. Still, this is the 80% cases. In 80% what happens, these diseases get be vanished, empty. In 80% cases, this infectious disease. But 10 to 20% cases what happens, still that tuberculosis will grow. Okay, still, because some of the potent TB bacillus or mycobacterium tuberculosis infectious bacteria, some potent bacteria is what they will do, they will proliferate or again they will multiply. Okay, still TB grows and they activate what they will activate, then they activate TNF alpha factor, tumor necrosis factor alpha, and some of the inflammatory mediators they will activate. Okay, after that it leads to some of the complications, and it also leads to the HIV. Okay, due to the weak in the immune system, what happens, other viruses also enters into the human body. This is the in 10% cases. Yes, now the next one pathogenesis is that is of AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It is a type of a sexually transmitted diseases, my dear brothers and my dear sisters. See here, sexual intercourse with a HIV patient, if he or she is suffering from HIV, means not only by means of the sexual intercourse, by sharing the needles, okay, and by transfusion of the blood, these are also pathogenesis of the AIDS. Then replication of the HIV in peripheral blood, the HIV virus, okay, which will cause the AIDS, it will replicate in your peripheral blood response. Peripheral blood response means the filter blood, okay, the blood which pumped from the aorta to whole part of the body, that's the peripheral blood. That peripheral blood which contains the HIV virus, what it will do, it will activate or it will respond to the CD4 plus T helper cells plus a CD8 plus T helper cells. These are the very important cells, they get activated upon the production of this HIV. If the HIV get produced or if they attacks into the peripheral blood, means these CD4 plus T cells and CD8 plus T cells get activated, they kill the acute HIV virus. Although in some position they will kill this HIV virus, but remaining HIV virus they further developed and they pass into the next step. But remaining HIV virus further proliferates, multiplies, then they decrease the immune system. Okay, these remaining they become resistance to the resistance to the immunity. Okay, then these will decrease the other immune cells. If due to the destruction in the other immune cells, you know that immunity plays a vital role in our human body. Due to the decrease in the immune cells, what happens? Opportunistic infections will be attacked. Here opportunistic infections means just taking opportunity of these decrease in the immune cells. Okay, if he or she is suffering ill, then we are taking opportunity of that person. We are working substitute for this person. That is opportunity for us. Yes or not? In the same way, decrease in the immune cells, what happens? The opportunistic infections will be attacked. Like a decrease in immune cells, what happens? The cold cold will be attacked to him, pneumonia, any other types of viral types of diseases, bacterial diseases, fungal diseases will attack him or her. Because of which one? Because of decrease in the immune cells. I have told you, they act as a home guard to the human body. They act as a soldiers for the human body. Decrease in this leads to the opportunistic infections. Okay, that leads to the further complications. Yes, so these are the pathogenesis of the AIDS. My dear brothers and sisters, one point you observed here, very common point. That is, which one is that point? The common point here is, my dear brothers and sisters, macrophages. Means activation of the WBC or immune cells, it is one of the common in all the pathogenesis. If you don't know anything, means you just write the causes and you explain from that it leads to the complication, then it activates the some of the immune cells. So immune cells which fight against that antigens, fight against the antigen antibody complex. It leads to the further complication of the disease. It leads to the inflammation. You just write that much. No, you don't worry. If you don't know anything, means you write that much. If you know anything, if you know the concept, if you read the concept, means you can easily describe this all. Don't worry. I will upload this all pathogenesis what I had taught you today. I have not taught you, but I have reminded you because you know better than me. Yes, my dear brothers and sisters, this is the today's concept we discussed. Thank you for watching this video. Inshallah, in upcoming classes we will discuss remaining pathogenesis. Assalamu alaikum.